Last week we have done the chatbot and the RAG application. Now, in the previous week four, we were trying to extract data from Telegram and try to fine tune the algorithms. Now, this is almost an extension of that week's challenge. So we will still go through Telegram and check what's there and try to build an in-between data warehouse. So what does it mean by data warehouse? It's similar to the traditional database, that concept that we know, but with minor modification. So I think, can you see my screen? Okay, so we are going to have a full in-between data product, which means starting from the raw data through analysis, passing to that to analysis. It needs to be clean, transformed, and saved on the data warehouse that we have. So by means that it's an in-between project because you have to extract the data, you have to clean the data, you have to process or transform the data from one form to another. Let's say there are Telegram channels that posts medical data or pharmaceutical data for those who are engaging in this pharmacy business. So they will post the image of the capsule or either it's syrup or if it is an injection, they will post that and they will add additional metadata to it, whether it's a description for it and also the content. It's so having that, you have collected that into one raw data, which is either you call it in CSV format or you are, let's say, since we have done last time, we have collected these Telegram message and put it into database. Next time, when you want to uh, this data for analytics, it is not ready for analytics purpose because you have to have multiple joins because you have the image in another place, the text in another place, the drive, the scorecard in another place. So you need to collect all those things, and you have to query from different tables. You have to perform different joins. You have to perform uh, multiple query optimization techniques to get the data, the desired data that you want. So think of this in large scale or large bank sales or large companies that have process per day. They might produce hundreds and thousands of data, and you have to do all this query optimization, multiple join. How that becomes costly for you to get a single analytical data. So in order to avoid that, we will have a new concept that is the data warehouse concept, and which is included in the uh, data engineering. The whole area is data engineering. You have to provide an in-between data pipeline for any data that you have that you generate, and this data needs additional processing that it needs to pass. So for this week, we will extract data from Telegram. We will transform that data using transformation tool like DBT, and we will orchestrate that using the Dagster. That means you have last time you have seen a cron, but we didn't use that because Telegram has its own limitation. But to understand the concept, at least within a limited message, then it will allow you to extract periodically this Telegram message. That means per day, per week, or per hour, you have to extract X amount of message, and those X amount of message should have to be extracted, should have to be cleaned, transformed, and put it into the structured data warehouse that you have. So there are so many concepts are touched here in this specific challenge. And in addition to that, we will use the image that we have extracted from the Telegram channels as one part of data enrichment techniques. So we will use the yellow object detection for this purpose. So we will provide at the end of the challenge, we will try to deliver an end-to-end data product. So overall, the expectation with this challenge document is this one. So what's the business need as a data engineer in Kara Solutions? You are expected to deliver or to build these robust data platforms to generate insight about medical business that are in Telegram for Ethiopian context. So what we need to address is that you have to build an end-to-end pipeline. When we say pipeline is, let's say you have a data extraction one function or one class, a data cleaning one another class, data loading another class, then data transformation is the other class that you have. So in things which are not that pipelined, you have to execute the loading first, you have to execute the cleaning first, next, then you have to execute the transformation, then you have to load that to database. So that means these tasks will be manually done, or you will write one pipeline, like one pipeline class, then just first do this, next do that, next do the next task. Then once you complete this, it will be end of the process, the pipeline process. So we need to get rid of this individual execution, but we have to implement this pipeline-wise execution, because pipelines are more important than individual execution when you became a production, or when you are expected to deliver production-ready products. So you need to have this pipeline and fully automated tasks, and those tasks should have to be implemented easily. So for that, let's say these are a couple of questions that we have that we can answer, like what are the top most frequently mentioned medical product or drugs across those channels, and how does the price availability, is there any difference across the channels, or what are the most visual contents that are being posted on these channels. So you can see there are multiple channels that can post either a medical issue or an advertisement to a medical institution. So these are the things. So basically, your data will answer this kind of questions. So to answer this question, what you are going to do is to build this ETL pipeline, which means that the one that extracts, loads, and transforms the raw data that's extracted from Telegram, and you have to load it into a data lake, which is the storage zero. What does it mean by data lake? Is the first source of truth, or the raw where you store the raw information. That means the data that's extracted from the Telegram channels can be stored either in JSON format or in PNG format for the image into your specified folder. So to search on on this data lake, it's a bit messy, and also since it's unstructured data, you have to do additional processing and to store everything into a structured manner. So data lake, which place where we store unstructured data, either it can be in CSV or it can be in JSON format, but it's not query this data might not be easy. So you have to have additional place where you can store the data. So what's the second option? Is the next option is you once you have collected all these Telegram data into either a JSON or into a CSV format, the next step is to have a database uh, and to store the cleaned ones. You have to clean and transform the data, and you have a certain predefined structure, and um, you will store that into a database. This database can be either SQL database or non-SQL database. So it's up to you to choose which database to use, but we will recommend you to use Postgres since the installation and overhead with this PostgreSQL is minimal. Then the next step is the data warehouse, or where your data goes from the database that you have into an analytical or into a reporting stage. So your data should have to be cleaned. Your data should have to be organized. Your data should have to have additional structure rather than the structure that we are calling this table schemas, or what you call it, in the entities and entity relationships. But in addition to that, you have to have a predefined additional schema. Usually we use this star schema in the data engineering sense. So you have to structure the data in a way that have this star schema application. So once you have loaded this into database, the transformation step is the next step, so where you can put the data into DBT, or you can pass this through DBT transformation, and you can remodel by having the schemas additional to the schemas that your database have. So this layered approach will help us to ensure the data reliability, scalability, and ready for analysis. So at the end, the data that you will get will be a clean and a count, or let's say how many messages. So if we have a staging message view table, so that would be the last product that we want to see from this specific task. So in this, the project will involve data scraping, data modeling, objective detection, then exposing this with through analytical APIs, and orchestration is the additional tasks that you have. So on your data, what's expected are listed here. You have to develop this reproducible project environment and secure pipeline, as previously also mentioned. Filmon have mentioned this. Don't push tokens to GitHub, so you will get blocked. So in order to avoid these things, you have to have git ignore, and all the environment should have to be read from, all the tokens should have to be read from the environment that you have set. And also using virtual environment for interoperability will be nice, and also having deploying it with Docker, or installing this Postgres with Docker. That is the other reproducible project environment example, which you can use as a best practice. Then the data scraping, that the tasks that you have done on the week for, and um, implementing this dimensional data model or the star schemas in the Postgres database for the data warehouse sense. That is the key thing that you will learn on this week's specific challenge, because um, when we say this schemas, star schemas, things needs to be um, easy to answer a certain business questions. So you have to avoid multiple joins or costly process to have in your database schema or in your data warehouse. So that means you need to have a clear and easy to query database schema. With that, you are expected or to organize your data in a way that can be easily understandable, fast to query, and for analysis also great for analytics. So you may have either the fact tables, which is in the middle, that the raw data or the one that you have extracted and doesn't transform anything, and you can have one fact table and you may have many dimensional tables. That means that describes the facts. Let's say we have stored the messages that are posted on Telegram. So for those messages, we can create, for one, we can create image dimension. For the other, we can create number of that contains the metadata about that specific message. You can categorize either these are advertisement data, these are medical or pharmaceutical specific data, or these are dimensional tables. So you can have multiple dimensional tables from one that can be derived from one base table. So the next step is how you can build these dimensional tables. You will use the ETL pipeline, so where you can extract the data, then you can clean and organize the data. The transformation phase is where you can organize this data, and for that you can use dbt to fix the column names, either to convert data types or to join multiple tables and to create new ones from the existing ones. uh, for this specific challenge, we have chosen data build tool or DBT as a transformation tool, but there are many other transformation tools that you will learn more about when you go deep into the data engineering sector. And on the next task, you are expected to detect objects, or if there is any medical objects or any medical image that are attached on that specific message. So you can able to detect that using YOLO. So that's the other step or the other key tasks that you need to do on this specific challenge. And then the next thing is exposing the data or the clean transformed data through this analytical API. So you are expected to provide the data through the API. So for this week, you are building this data warehouse. So you are expected to scrape the data itself, and the skills and knowledge are stated here. You can check out them. And for the dates, we have as usual, today is Wednesday, and on Sunday we will have an interim submission, and on the uh, Tuesday we will have a final submission. So what are the deliverables? The deliverables are first of all, as usual, since the project setup and the environment management are the key parts for every project that we are doing in this training. You have to create a new GitHub repository, and you have to initialize with the necessary things, including Docker, Postgres, and also environmental variables. And these are the steps that you can follow, or you can reuse the data, the folder structure that we have shared last time, and that will be uh, easy for you to replicate what you have. And the next task will be the data scraping, which is the extraction and the loading phase, where you can extract the Telegram data from these specified channels, and you can also add additional channel if you have time and things to be added. But for example, you can use either of this Telegram channels to extract data for the medical business. Then you have image, and you have message both in, you can extract them either in JSON format, the message and the things, and the image into a separate image folder. So that will be the raw data that you are going to have, and you will store it in your data lake. Since we are trying to uh, simulate the real world data streaming part, so your data should have to be partitioned into a daytime and to a channel specific name. That means, let's say you have extracted today and you need to extract tomorrow, so you have to extract only the message that are not extracted today. So you have to have this restriction, and while you are saving, you have to also add this metadata information into your folder structure. Whether this is in this specific task, we have specified into year, months, and dates, and next day you have another JSON that's collected from the channel, and next day you will have also another. So this will make it easier to manage and also easier to process next. So you can store this raw data into a JSON format and have this logging, and maybe attaching delays to avoid any restriction by Telegram will be the other plus side, because Telegram have a rate limit, and most of you have faced this in last time project. So please be careful not to break the terms and conditions by Telegram, because if you request multiple times, you will get banned. And on the second task, there will be a data modeling and transformation task, which will use this DBT, and you can read about the data build tool from this, how you can build a reliable data factory, how you transform this chaos into structured, a clean and structured table, and modern data standards with star schema. These are the things that you can understand from the transformation phase, and what you are expected to do is to build the transformation pipeline that can load the JSON file into Postgres database with the raw schema, and that can create the fact table, and on the not the fact table, the source table, and on the through this DBT steps, you can create multiple models. Those models can be a raw data model and the remaining additional data marts which you can build from the schema. Let's say multiple dimensional tables, multiple fact tables. You can have data marts from the data which we have extracted, and this will be DBT by itself will provide you testing and a documentation for what it have done, and it's purely an SQL thing. So you can see the queries, you can interact with those queries, and you can state your own restriction to the queries or update to the queries, and testing and documentation, producing the DBT lineage graph will be additional on this task. On the third phase, on the third task, you're expected to use the YOLO, which is on object detection model. So it's a global model. It's not limited to us. You can use that and you can extract this informations from the image that's posted on the Telegram channel. And on the next task, what's expected is to expose this through Fast API, and you can have additional folders for to accommodate Fast API to read and write. And basically, you have to do the basic things to expose the data that you have transformed or that can read only one dimensional table or that can show one fact table. And on the last task will be the pipeline orchestration task. So you are expected to use Dagster, which is an open source thing, and it's similar to Airflow or Cron. It's periodically um, run your tasks and run your pipeline into a DAG format. So your DAG should have to execute the scraping first, then the load, then running the DVD transformation, then running the YOLO enrichment. Every time, this is a repetitive process in each day, so you can use the Dagster to orchestrate this task. So overall, this is it. As usual, we will have tutorial sections and for Telegram scraping and local database setup. And also we will have for the data transformation and data warehouse modeling and data enrichment with computer vision and also analytical API with fast API and data pipeline orchestration will be the tutorial sessions, and you are expected to submit the interim submission on Sunday and the final submission on next Friday. These are the couple of references that you might read to get a detail about what can be helpful for you to solve the challenge. Any question? Any question? Is that clear at least? For the project structure, I think you have to use what's necessary for, let's say, for this week's challenge, but the core part should have to be there. That means the core part is you have to have the workflow, you have to have the Docker, you have to have Gitignore, you have to have at least the object-oriented implementation. Your source code should have to be different from the notebooks, and tests should have to be there in the test folder. These are the standard structure, but the things that you might add to this folders might be different, but since the skeleton is more or less similar, you can add the necessary things on what we have in the previous challenge. 2-3 minutes in Amharic. ምንድነው አልቲሜትሊ ሀሳቡ የዚህ ዊክ ቻሌንጅ ኤክስፔክት የሚደረግባችሁ ኢንዲፔንደንት የሆነ ዴታ ፕሮዳክትን መስጠት ነው። ያ ማለት ለምሳሌ አሁን በእኛ ሀገር ሴንስ ብናየው ዴታ ማግኘት አስቸጋሪ ነው። በተለይ ፐብሊካሊ ያለ ዴታን ማግኘት በጣም የሚከብድ ነገር ነው። ስለዚህ ይሄ ዴታ ዌርሃውስን ዴታ ቤዝን ቢልድ ስናደርግ እንዴት ቢልድ እናደርጋለን? ዲስ ዊክ ደግሞ ስፔሲፊካሊ ዴታን ብቻ ዲላውት እንድናደርግ ነው የሚፈለገው። ኖ ማሽን ለርኒንግ የለም፣ ትሬን የምናደርገው ነገር የለም። ግን ዴታውን እንዴት እናምጣው? ያ ማለት ስናመጣው ዴታው ከሶርሱ መምጣት አለበት። ከሶርሱ ከመጣ በኋላ ክሊን መደረግ አለበት። ቢኮዝ ክሊን ያልሆነ ዴታ ምን ያክል ሞዴላችንን ባያዝ እያደረገው እንደነበረ አይተናል። ስለዚህ ክሊን ማድረግ አለብን። ክሊን ካደረግነው በኋላ አንዳንዴ ይበዛል። ለምሳሌ አንዳንድ ካምፓኒዎች በቀን ከ1000 ከ2000 ከ3000 በላይ ዴታ ይመጣል። ስለዚህ ያንን ሁሉ ዴታቤዝ ላይ ሴቭ እያደረግን እንሄዳለን። ዳትስ ፋይን። ሶ ኔክስት ታይም ስንት ብር ወጪ ተደረገ ኦር ስንት ብር ገባ። ለምሳሌ አንድ የንግድ ባንክን ብንወስድ ነው ሁሌም ስንት ብራንች አለ? ብዙ ብራንች አለ። ስንት ቴለር አለ? በየብራንቹ ብዙ ቴለር አለ። ስንቱ ምን ያክል ወጪ ያደረጉ የሚለውን ማየት ቢፈለግ ይሄ ፕሮሰስ ለምሳሌ ዛሬ ቢፈለግ ይሄ ጥያቄ ዴታ ቲም ጋር ደርሶ ትራንስሌት ተደርጎ በዴታ ተመልሶ እስኪመጣ ኢቴክ ሜቢ ዊክ ምናምን ሊፈጅ ይችላል እስኪመለስ ተመልሶ ይህን ጥያቄ መልስ እስኪያገኝ ሃየር ኦፊሻልስ። ግንስ የተደራጀ ዴታ ሲስተም ቢኖርና ከየሁሉም ላይ ያለውን ዴታዎች ተሰብስበው አንድ ዴታቤዝ ላይ እየገቡ ነው። ኦኬ አንድ ዴታቤዝ ላይ ገብተዋል። ግን ለምሳሌ ኮመንሊ የሚፈለጉ ፓተርኖች አሉ። ለምሳሌ አንድ ብራንች በቀን ስንት አወጣ፣ ሌላኛው ብራንች በቀን ስንት አስገባ፣ ስንት እንትን አለ፣ ስንት ከስተመር አስተናገደ ምናምን የሚለው ኮመንሊ የሚታወቁትን ለነሱ ሚረር የሆነ ቪው ቴብል ክሬት ማድረግ። በፊት ቪው ቴብል ይሰራሉ እና እነሱ አይነት ቴብሎች ክሬት አድርጎ ዳታውን ትራንስፎርም አድርጎ የሚፈለገውን በሚፈለገው ሰዓት ኢዝሊ ቶሎ ለማግኘት እንዲያስችል ማስቻል ነው። ይህንን ለማስቻል ምን እናደርጋለን? ያው ዴታውን ከየብራንቹ ኮሌክት ማድረግ ኦር ከየቴሌግራም ቻናሎቹ ኮሌክት እናደርጋለን። ሮው ዴታ ሆነው ይቀመጣሉ። ሮው ዴታ ሲመጣ አይዘር አሁን በዚህ ፕሮጀክት ሴንስ በሲኤስቪ ኦር በጄሰን መልኩ እናስቀምጣቸዋለን። ደን ሮውን ደግሞ ክሊን አድርገን ምናምን ሎድ እናደርጋለን ኢን ደ ዴታቤዝ ዌር ኢኒሺያል ዴታቤዝ ስኬማችን ላይ። ያ አትሊስት ይሄ ዴታ ከዚህ ነው የመጣው ስለዚህ ያወራል ምናምን የሚለውን ይሰጠናል። ግን ተጨማሪ ለምሳሌ አሁን ምን አይነት መድኃኒቶች ናቸው ፍሪኩዌንትሊ እየተፖሰቱ ያሉት? የሚፖሰቱት ዩዥዋሊ ሰው የሚገዛ ስላለ ነው ኦር እነሱ ዌራውስ ውስጥ በጣም ስላሉ ነው። ስለዚህ ይሄንን ፕሩፍ ማድረግ ለሚፈልግ ሰው ምን አይነት ሜዲሲኖች ናቸው ፖስት እየተደረጉ ያሉት የሚለውን ቼክ ለማድረግ ሮው ዴታ ላይ ሄጄ እያንዳንዱን ፈልጌ በየቀኑ ፊልተር አድርጌ ከዛ ምናምን ከማደርግ ኦልሬዲ አፕ ቱ ዴት ይሄን አክል ፖስት ተደርጓል በዚህ መድኃኒት የሚለኝ ቴብል ካለኝ እሱን ኢዝሊ ካውንት ማድረግ ሳይጠበቅብኝ ኦር የካውንቱን ኮምፒቴሽን መስራት ሳይጠበቅብኝ ኩዌሪ ኦፕቲማይዝ ማድረግ ሳይጠበቅብኝ መልቲፕል ቴብል ጆይን ለማድረግ ፕላስ ደግሞ ጆይን በራሱ በጣም ኮስት ያለው ታስክ ነው። ለምሳሌ በኮስት ስንል በእንትን ብንወስደው በኮምፒቲሽናል ፓወር ብንወስደው ራዘር ዛን ሲምፕል ሰርች ኦር ይሄ ሰሌክት ጆይን ነው በጣም በኤስኩኤል ተርም ብዙ ኮምፒቲሽናል ፓወር የሚወስደው። ስለዚህ ያንን መቀነስ አለብን ኤኒ ታይም። ሁሌም እነኚህ ማርት ብለን የምናስቀምጣቸው ዴታ ማርቶች ያንን ጆይን ማስቀረት መቻል አለባቸው። ያንን ኮምፒቲሽናል ኮምፕሌክሲቲ መቀነስ አለባቸው። ስለዚህ ሞስት ኦፍ ደ ፍሪኩዌንትሊ አስክድ ኩዌስችንስ ከዛ ኢዝሊ መገኘት እንዲችሉ ኔክስት ፌዝ ኦር ከዛ የባሰ ማለት ዲፕ የሆነ አናሊሲስ የሚፈለግ ከሆነ ብቻ ወደ ዴታ ቲሙ ጥያቄ መጥቶ ምናምን ፕሮሰስ እንዲደረግ ማስቻል። ከዛ ውጭ ያሉትን ግን ኢዝሊ ከዚሁ ፊልተር አድርጎ ዴታን ኢንፎርሜሽንም ለማግኘት ፋስት ዲሲሽን ሜኪንግንም ለመጨመር ይረዳናል። ስለዚህ እንዲህ አይነት ሲስተም እንሰራለን በዚህኛው ዊክ። ሶ ይሄንን ስንሰራ ትራንስፎርሜሽኑን ሰራን። ደን ደግሞ ኢሜጆች ምናምን አሉ። ሶ ዶስ ኢሜጅ ኒድ ቱ ቢ ትራንስሌትድ ኢንቱ ቲንግስ ዳት ካን ቢ ኢንፎርማቲቭ ኢነፍ። ያ ማለት ለምሳሌ የሆነ ስለሆነ መድኃኒት ፖስት ተደርጓል እና ያ መድኃኒት ምን አይነት መድኃኒት ነው? ለምሳሌ አንድ መድኃኒት በጠብታ መልክ ሊኖር ይችላል፣ በኪኒን መልክ ሊኖር ይችላል፣ በኢንጀክሽን መልክ ሊኖር ይችላል። ስለዚህ ይሄ ስፔሲፊካሊ ፖስት የተደረገው መድኃኒት በየትኛው ነው ያለው፣ በየትኛውስ ነው ብዙ ጊዜ የተጠየቀ ያለው የሚለውን ከዛ ማግኘት ይቻላል። ስለዚህ እሱን ደግሞ ፈርዘር ኢንፎርሜሽን ማግኘት የምንችለው ከተጻፈ ጥሩ፣ ከተጻፈው ላይ ኤክስትራክት ማድረግ ይቻላል። ካልተጻፈ ግን ኢሜጆቹ ላይ ባለው አዲሽናል ኢንፎርሜሽን ይሄ እንደ ሜታ ዴታ ማገልገል ይችላል ማለት ነው። የተጻፈውንም ዲኮድ ለማድረግ ይረዳናል። ስለዚህ እሱኛውም ደግሞ ሌላ አዲሽናል ዴታ ማርታችን ይሆናል። ተጨማሪም ደግሞ ሌላ የምንፈልጋቸው ለምሳሌ አሁን አድቨርታይዝመንት ሲኖር አንዳንዴ ቻናሎች ምን ያደርጋሉ እንዲህ አይነት ለምሳሌ የሆነ አይነት ሜዲካል ኢቨንት አለ፣ እሱ ፖስት ይደረጋል which is not medical thing but የሆነ ኢቨንት ስላለ እንደዚህ አይነት ካምፓኒዎች እንዲህ አይነት ዲያግኖስቲክስ ጀምረዋል ምናምን የሚልም ፖስት ይደረጋል። ስለዚህ እሱን ደግሞ ለብቻ ተጨማሪ ምን አይነት አድቨርታይዝመንቶች አሉ፣ ምን አይነት አድቨርታይዝመንቶች በዚህ ረን እያደረጉ ነው የሚለውን ደግሞ በሌላ ማርት ቼክ ማድረግ ይቻላል። እሱንም ለብቻ አግሪጌት እናደርጋለን። ለየብቻ የተለያየ ዴታ የተለያየ ቪው ፈጠርን ማለት ነው። ኦን ኒድ ቤዝ ይሄ እየጨመረ ይሄዳል። ግን ፋክት ቴብላችን ስቲል አንድ ነው። ፋክት ቴብላችን ላይ የተቀየረ ነገር የለም። የማርቶቹ ግን መልቲፕል ዳይሜንሽን ስለሚኖራቸው እነሱ ላይ የሚቀየር ነገር ይኖራል። አንዱ ከአንዱ ሊለያይ ይችላል። ዳይሜንሽናቸውም ሊለያይ ይችላል። ኮለምስ ሮውስ ምናምን የምንለው ነገር አንደኛው ጋር ሲመጣ ሌላ ነው፣ አንደኛው ጋር ሲመጣ ሌላ ነው። ይሄ ፍሌክሲቢሊቲ ይሰጣል። ይሄ በእንዲህ እንዳለ መልቲፕል ማርቶች አሉ። ስለዚህ አሁን እኛ ማርቶቹን ክሬት አደረግናቸው። እነኚህ ማርቶቹ ላይ ያለ ዴታ ደግሞ ኤክስፖዝ መደረግ አለበት። ስለዚህ እሱን በምንድነው ኤክስፖዝ የምናደርገው? ኤፒአይ እንሰራለን። ያ ኤፒአይ ዴታዎቹን ኮሌክት እያደረገ ኤክስፖዝ ያደርጋል ማለት ነው ለሚፈለገው አካል። ማንም ኤስኩኤል ኩዌሪ መጻፍ አይጠበቅበትም። ማንም ያንን ስኬማ ማወቅ አይጠበቅበትም። ኦንሊ ሪኩዌስት ብቻ ነው የሚልኩት ቤዝድ ኦን እንትኑ በሚጠይቀው መልኩ ማለት ነው። እሱን ኢዝሊ ዴታውን ኢዝሊ አክሰስ ማድረግ ይቻላል ከተለያየ ዲፓርትመንት ሲመጣ። ኤንድ ላስትሊ ምን አለ አሁን ይሄን ሁሉ ያወራሁትን ፕሮሰስ በየቀኑ ተደጋጋሚ ነው የሚሆነው። ለምሳሌ ማርቶቹን ክሬት እስከማድረግ ምናምን ኤፒአዩ ሁሌ እያነበበ ነው ብለን እንኳን ብናስብ ማለት ዴታቤዝ ኮኔክት አድርጎ ረን አድርጎ ነው ዴታ የሚመልስልን ብለን ብናስብ ኤክስትራክሽኑ፣ ክሊኒንጉ፣ ሎዲንግ ደን ትራንስፎርሜሽን በሙሉ ሁሌም የሚሰራ ስራ ነው። ሁሌም እየሄዳችሁ ረን አታደርጉትም። ሁሌም እየሄዳችሁ እንትን አታደርጉም። ሰው ሲሆን ወይ ይረሳል ወይ የሆነ ነገር ይሆናል። ግን ዴታ ደግሞ እንደዛ መሆን አይችልም። ምክንያቱም ዴታ በጣም ሴንሲቲቭ ስለሆነ አንዳንዴ ክሩሻል የሆነ ኢንፎርሜሽን ሊጠፋ ስለሚችል እንደዛ እንዲሆን ስለማይፈልግ ዴታውን ኦርኬስትሬት ማድረግ መመራት አለበት። ለምሳሌ መቼ ምን መደረግ አለበት፣ እንዴት፣ ከየት እሱን ዊዛውት ኤኒ አዲሽናል ቱል እንኳን አንድ ጠቅለል ያለ ፓይፕላይን ክላስ ቢኖራችሁ መጀመሪያ ዳታውን ሎድ አድርግ፣ ከዛ ዳታውን ክሊን አድርግ፣ ከዛ ዲቢቲ ረን አድርግ፣ ከዛ ዴታውን ወደ ዴታ ዌርሃውስ ሴቭ አድርግ። ከዌርሃውስ ላይ ኤፒአይ ያነባል። ስለዚህ ኤችን ስቴፕ ዛሬ ትሰራላችሁ። ኦር ሰርቴን ፓይፕላይን ክላስ ይሄንን ረን ያደርጋል። ናው ኔክስትም ይመጣል ረን ይደረጋል። ኔክስት ዴይ ይመጣል ረን ይደረጋል። ኔክስት ዴይ ይመጣል ረን ይደረጋል። ግን አት ዘ ሴም ታይም ለምሳሌ አሁን ትላንት ሴቭ የተደረገ ዴታ ዛሬም መጥቶ ሴቭ መደረግ የለበትም። ትላንት ኤክስትራክት የተደረገ ዴታ ዛሬም ኤክስትራክት መደረግ የለበትም። ስለዚህ በዴይ ዋይዝ አትሊስት ቸንክ መደረግ አለባቸው። ዛሬ ከቻናሉ ላይ የምትወስዱት ዴታ የዛሬን ቀን ዛሬ ቀን ሙሉ የተፖሰተ ዛሬ ቀን ሙሉ የተፖሰተ ከሌለ የለም ማለት ነው። ነገም እንደዛው። ከዛ በምን እንለያቸዋለን ከሆነ በዛሬ ቀን የዛሬ ቀን is different from የነገ ቀን ዴታ እንትኑ ላይም ሁሉም ላይ ይሄ ቀን እንደ ሪፈረንስ መግባት አለበት። ሁሉም ላይ በተለይ ሮውን ክሬት ስናደርግ ኦርሎን ወደ እንትን ሮ ቴብል ፖስት ስናደርግ ይሄኛው ነገር መጀመሪያ የፊልትሬሽን ሜካኒዝማችን ይሆናል ማለት ነው። ከዛ የነገንም የቀን ወዲያም እየመጣ እያለ ዴታቤዙ ኢንሪች እየሆነ ይመጣል። እስካልሰፋ ድረስ ስቲል ፋይን ነው። የሰፋ ቀን ነው የሚያስቸግረው። የሰፋ ቀን ምንድነው የሚያመጣው? ሁሌም ማስታወሳችሁ ኤክስትራክት ማድረግ አለባችሁ። ሁሌም ማስታወሳችሁ ለምሳሌ አንዱ ፓይፕላይን ፌል አደረገ፣ በምን ታውቃላችሁ? የተወሰነ ሜሴጅ ኤክስትራክት አድርጎ ከዛ በኋላ አቆመ ምናምን እንደዚህ አይነት ሎጎች እንዲኖራችሁ ቤተር ቱ ዩዝ ኦርኬስትሬሽን ቱሎችን ያ ማለት እነ ኤርፍሎ፣ ዳግስተር፣ ሜግ እነኝን መጠቀም። ሶ እነኚህ ፔሪዲካሊ ቼክ ያደርጋሉ። ሄልዙንም ሞኒተር ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ። ለእናንተም ስራን ቀለል ያደርጋል። ሶ የላስት ታስኩ የሚሆነው ኦርኬስትሬሽን ነው የሚሆነው። ያ ማለት ዳግስተር ሲምፕል ዳግ ናቸው። ኤርፍሎ ኢዝ ሪኮመንድድ፣ ግን ምንድነው ይሄ ኢንስታሌሽን ሄዴክ በጣም አለው። ፕላስ ደግሞ ማለት ትልቅ ጂቢ ነው የሚፈልገው ረን ለማድረግ። ሶ ጀስት ቤተር ቱ ኖ ኢት። ግን ሲሚላር ታስክ የሚሰራው ዳግስተር የሚሰራል፣ ሜጌያ የምትሰራለች። ሶ እነሱን ተጠቅሞ ያለውን ኦርኬስትሬት እንዴት እንደሚደረግ ዋን አፍተር ቲያዘር እንዴት ነው ብራንች ማድረግ እስከፈለጋችሁ፣ ለምሳሌ ሁለት ታስክ ፓራሌል ማስኬድ ስትፈልጉ እንዴት ነው የምታደርጉት? የሁለቱን ሪዛልት ደግሞ ተጠቅማችሁ ሌላ ሶስተኛ ታስክ የሚነሳ ከሆነስ ምናምን የሚለውን እሱን አብሮ ማየት ይፈልጋል። ኦቨርኦል ይሄን ያለው አዴን ዴታውን ኤክስፖዝ ማድረግ ነው ኢዚ በሆነ ወይ ስሩ ኤፒአይ። ጥያቄ አለ? አይ ቲንክ ዳንኤል ጥያቄ ይሄን የመለስኩ ይመስለኛል። ኢንክሪመንታል ሪፍሬሽ ያው ኢንክሪመንት ስታደርጉ በዴይ በምናምን ስኬጁል ማድረግ ነው። ኢዚ ክሮንም ኢዚሊ ስኬጁል መደረግ ይችላል፣ ግን ከክሮን የተሻለ እነ ኤርፍሎ ኦር ዳግስተር ኦር ሜክ ኤአይ የተሻለ ሪኮመንድ ይደረጋል። የስ ሲምፕሊ ዴታ ዌርሃውስ ቢልድ ማድረግ ነው። ያ ማለት ኖት ደ ኖርማል ዴታቤዝ በት ደ ኢምፕሩቭድ ቨርዥን ኦፍ ደ ኖርማል ዴታቤዝ። ሌላ ጥያቄ አለ? ግልጽ ነው። አትሊስት ዌር ቱ ስታርት ክሊር ናችሁ፣ ቢያንስ ምን ማንበብ እንዳለባችሁ። ኦኬ if that's the case, thank you everyone for joining. ምናልባት ሳምፕል ዴታ ባለፈውም ክሬት ያደረጋችሁት አለ፣ ካልሆነ ግን ከቴሌግራም ነው ኤክስትራክት የምታደርጉት። ባለፈው ክሬት ስታደርጉ ለምሳሌ ፖስቶች ይኖራሉ። ከፖስቶቹ ላይ ኢሜጅ ለብቻ ቴክስቱን ከስር ያለውን ዲስክሪፕሽን ለብቻ አልነበረ ስታደርጉ የነበረው ዊክ ፎር ላይ። እሱን ኤክስትራክሽን ቱል ተጠቅማችሁም ኤክስትራክት ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ ኢዝሊ። Okay. If that's the case, thank you everyone for joining. Let me stop the recording and wrap it up here.